So hi, I wanted to make a quick video about remote ID. Maybe it's a slightly different perspective on it, but I am supportive of all the efforts. Thanks to XJet for starting this movement. It's been a great, hopefully success. We'll see how it goes, but my take is slightly different, and if you're a non-political person, you may not be interested in this because it is from a political perspective. But stay tuned at the end. I've got a special treat for you, something that no one else has done, and I think you'll appreciate it. But first, the serious part. My take on the FAA is that they are an unconstitutional entity. And what I mean by that is, yes, Congress, if you read the Constitution, I think it's the first section, it actually says the responsibility for creating law rests solely in the legislative branch. And so they're the only entity in this country that can create law at a federal level, and that's important. So it doesn't apply to states, doesn't apply to cities, but they can create law all day long. And really, there are very little limits on what law they can create. But what they have done instead is delegate that authority to bureaucracies. So an example might be the FCC for communications, to the EPA for environmental regulation, for the FAA for airspace sort of regulation and air flight regulation. So that is really unconstitutional in and of itself, you might think. But the Supreme Court has ruled that, and I'm going to read it because it's kind of hard to understand, but they said that that the Congress may not delegate powers that are strictly and exclusively legislative. It may delegate powers which it may rightfully exercise itself. So what that says is it can do it, but it's not. But it also says that's not literally true. The ruling is saying is that the court has recognized that the administration of the delegation of this requires an exercise of discretion. What does that mean? It means that it has to be a boundary on how it can, that there is some difficulty in discerning the exact limits. Chief Justice Marshall said that there is some difficulty in discerning the exact limits, and that the precise boundary of this power is a subject of delicate and difficult inquiry into which the court will not enter unnecessarily. So, according to that, you can challenge the authority of these entities to create law. So the way Congress has gotten around it and the way the Supreme Court has gotten around it is, it's not really law, it's regulation. And it's not really taxes, it's penalties. And so but there's really no difference, okay? A penalty and a tax, they're the same thing. They take your money that you don't want to give to them. They steal your money, basically. Now, we voluntarily pay our taxes because we are in this country and we agree that the government is a necessary thing. And so, in that sense, we sort of subject ourselves to that. But penalties are not. We've not elected the FAA, we've not elected the FCC or the EPA, yet we rely and they are allowed to create law and penalties and taxes that impact our lives and every day. So maybe the EPA isn't quite so much in your face. Maybe the FCC is a little bit if you're a ham operator. But if you're a pilot, even a toy pilot like we are, they're going to get in your knickers. So my point is that they've delegated this authority. And so how do we as a country fix this? And I think it's important to write your congressman and go through the political route. I know it's very difficult to get a hold of your representative, but make an attempt. I would do that. And there are websites you can go to, their websites, and there's a way you can submit to them your concern. And here's the concern. Yes, we're worried about this specific problem, but this is a bigger problem. The bigger problem is the Congress has delegated a lot of authority to these non-elected entities, and that has to stop. Why do they do it? Is it necessary to do it? Okay, I grant it. These entities do serve a purpose. They understand the technical aspects of the regulation that they are creating. But the problem is there's no oversight of these entities. They can go crazy and do anything they want. And the FAA has done exactly that. They've made laws based on no empirical data, maybe a concern, yes, and maybe a safety concern, yes, I'm with them on that. But there's no empirical data to back up the limits that they've imposed on people and how they enforce these things. And they're not really creating a way for people to continue their way of life that they've had, the freedoms that they've had before. So this is basically tyranny. And by the way, if you want to read more about the Constitution and what it does, go read Mark Levin's Liberty and Tyranny. It's the best book I've ever read on the subject, and it's very informative. So anyway, enough of that. I've whined about it. Please submit your own videos and continue doing this. It's a great movement. So before I leave, I wanted to leave you with this song I wrote, and it's kind of it doesn't have a chorus, so I did it in about 30 minutes, so I thought it was kind of fun. So here it goes. And I will mess it up along the way, so I apologize in advance. So here it goes. I sit down, hit the sky. I never felt so high. Let my troubles fly away from me. I got my goggles on, my trim is true. CG's perfect and the weather is too. When this errand dude comes walking up to me, he said, in case you haven't heard, a 4-pound bird is like a 50 caliber sniper around. And I said, is that a fact? He said, a chicken cannon I have seen what it does to an airplane wing. The test boys like to do that just to see who wins. I said, I never meant to hurt no one. I just wanted to have some fun. Find my little styrofoam airplane. He said, I've been granted authority to slap on you a big penalty, flying around in Amazon's airspace. I said, who elected you to spy on me? Tax me too. By the way, you're about to step on that snake. When he left, I sat down and hit the sky. I never felt so high. Let my troubles fly away from me. Amen.